getting big, and everybody says, you know, you gotta let them go a little bit, not be so overbearing. They don't need to wear life jackets on rainy days. So my wife and I decided to leave them home tonight on their own. You know, I just told them if there's a problem, call 911, which is kind of our personal babysitting service. You know, people always ask me, what's the difference, you know, between boys and girls? I'm like, you know, I'm not a doctor, but really, it's brains, because boys don't have it. Maybe girls don't, but they use them much differently than girls. Boys use theirs to see how hard they can hit them against things without causing permanent damage. Girls use theirs, check this out guys, for thinking. Like, how can they get Tommy to run into that wall really fast and get permanent brain damage? Oh, sorry. So, like I said, the F word principal is here. Teacher meetings come up, and where's the kid? Get this from him. Actually, my son amazed me with his sensitivity from a very young age. From like the time he was 3, he was doing something men for thousands of years had failed to do. He would put the seat down when he left the bathroom. And you know, despite his kind of tender age, he got like, when working at us, he got like thousands of marriage proposals. And a lot of them were already married, but they said they were planning to kill their husbands over the whole toilet seat issue. So I decided to wait a little while, and you know, the thing is, there was only one problem. Because he did everything 12,000 miles an hour. He would start slamming the thing down before he was done. You know, first time this happened, and closed the thing on his privates, and the scream was so violent, you know, even his imaginary friends were scared shitless. We tried everything, you know, acupuncture, hypnosis, catheter, you know what, and nothing worked, you know. So I figured maybe if he knew other people had the same condition, you know, it would work out. So I went online, and I'm you know, typing things in, looking for like support groups, and you know, so when I typed in repeatedly inflicts damage to own penis, all I got were all these groups for these guys that had the, you know, Viagra-induced 4-hour-plus erection. You know, I thought that was a myth, but it's pretty quiet in here. You must know someone that happened. But anyway, you know, the meeting worked like a charm, and better than nothing. And the guys there were all like, you know, your home is your castle. I don't know what that makes your bathroom, but you know, and you know, leave the damn seat up. You know, all these guys have been married like 6 or 7 times. I wonder why, but you know, so he started doing that, and also his vocabulary expanded by so much. You know, whenever he hears, you know, the word dysfunction, which is used only like slightly less than surreal nowadays, he yells out like with this pride bursting. He's like, "Dad, I know like erectile dysfunction." Yeah, so we haven't let him out of the house in 6 weeks, but. These teachers, they get a little worried, you know, what happened, we didn't need them, but yeah. When you become a parent, as many of you know, there's like 3 unshakable rules I learned like instantly. Changing diapers really sucks. You know, there's no way around it. And even worse, the people that don't think it sucks, they suck more. And the other thing is that Disney will take over your life like the world's biggest cult, but with better rides. It's like, you know, David Koresh at Pirates of the Caribbean, and it's a small world. Think of how many parents or young kids would have been outside of them, you know, FBI sharpshooters be damned, you know. And like, you know, evacuate, tear gas, like, have you seen the line? Oh, I said, so, you know, it's amazing. My wife and I spend more on Disney stuff than we do like on our mortgage. And we got so much Hannah Montana paraphernalia. You know, like the backpack and the costume and the boots and the smokeless tobacco, which I was so it's much better. Teeth get a little yellow. You know. There's a 2 or 3% less chance of cancer. You know, basically, we financed her eventual trip to rehab. Right. So, as a show of gratitude, she dressed up this Halloween as my daughter, which was, my daughter thought was great. I wasn't so thrilled because her dad, Billy Ray Cyrus, dressed up as me. And for those of you who don't know how Montana is, it's like two of you, you lucky freaking bastards. For those of you who don't know who Billy Ray Cyrus is, you're full of shit because 15 years ago, you were all line dancing to Achy Breaky Heart. David Koresh was too, it's just, they switched to Macarena and the guy went nuts. My wife, hates Disney, almost to death. And I'll tell you how. 6 years ago, the day my daughter was born, they're like, do you want to hold your newborn baby? And instead, my wife's like, no, she's holding me by the throat, in like a Vulcan death grip. And she looks at me, and her beautiful blue eyes, it turn like pools of hellfire. And she says like in this voice that would have freaked the shit out of a kid in The Exorcist. She's like, "You are never taking us to Disney World." My mom loves Disney. She thinks it's like the world's greatest force for good. They've never done any wrong, she thinks, except when they put the cartoon Pocahontas and the skimpy Native American get up. That was a little much. But my mom, you've heard of sympathy pains, I assume. Yeah, women, yeah. Guys don't know, you're supposed to get it. But when my mom heard she was going to be a grandma, little mouse ears started sprouting like miraculously out of her. So, by the time the day comes around, they're in full bloom. She has like the audio equivalent of like X-ray vision. She can hear everything. So here, my wife's strangling me. My mom hears her satanic rant, my wife's, and me gasping for breath, and my baby daughter. My mom can even hear her thinking, "What the hell is going on here? What kind of family is this?" So my mom dashes to the phone to make a life-saving phone call, the most important one of her life. She locks in great rates for Disney for 2008. Disney World. We went without my wife. And when my wife started telling people that she wasn't coming with us, they just assumed she was insane. You don't want to go to Disney? You want to see Mickey? You don't want to wait 19 hours online? So and they called children's services on her. And she told everybody. The kids' doctors, the kids' lawyers, parole officers. The social services finds out, and then they talk to me, and I'm like, well, she's a wonderful mom, but yeah, she did try to kill me on the day her daughter was born, so it didn't really help matters. And so they were worried that she's going to be a danger to Mickey loving kids and parents everywhere. They sentenced her to a weeks of home imprisonment. So while my mom and I went to that giant minefield down in Orlando for a week, my wife was forced to sit at home and sleep in. And watch reality TV, and eat takeout. And it wasn't very fun. And then when we got home, she showed off her, court-ordered electric monitoring bracelet. And naturally, it was a Hannah Montana model. I went too fast, so somebody's gonna have to come up here because I don't know what they like. Do some show tunes, but beyond that.